Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all my beautiful and delicious little babies out there. And how are you? Love you all so. I hope you're all super duper well, super duper wonderful, and super duper delicious wherever you are in the world. And that the weather is most delicious wherever you are. I've just had to do a take two because my beautiful, delicious, dear little Maisie Moo decided to come up on the camera. I'll probably put a little shorty video there, okay, my delicious babies. Very grey sky on the 12th of March 2026, my delicious little babies. And it's been super duper windy, super duper cold. My lights were already on. There we are. You see how bright it goes, my delicious babies. So everything's rocking and rolling. Now then, my delicious babies, so no videos today, but I do want to discuss something. Number one, okay, my delicious babies. So I'm going to go and do. It's called a fish and chips supper tomorrow evening, my delicious babies, on the 13th of March 2026, because like I just said, it's the 12th of March 2026 today. And let's what's the time, Mr. Wolf? 3:30, like I said. Anyway, my delicious babies in our old afternoon, our old England. Anyway, my delicious babies, and what does fish and chips supper entail? So what it means, my delicious babies, is that I go along, okay, because the dear woman who was supposed to be taking it, this has been organised, there we are, for a while, okay. Well, due to other commitments, not meaning, in other words, something's came up, my delicious babies. So it means that for myself, there we are, that I will be, sorry, excuse me, my delicious babies, that I will be taking this psychic fish and chip supper. Okay, so what that means is that you have 3 tables. Okay, my delicious babies, there are 6 mankind on each table. So what my job, my role is to do is to give a reading to each table, because 6, 12, 18, yes, to at least 3 mankind on each table, which comes to 9. There we are, my delicious babies, okay. So this means that tomorrow, especially in the afternoon, I need to, there we are, really meditate, my delicious babies, okay, be prior to going to the psychic supper, fish and chip supper, my delicious babies. So I'll probably drink, there we are, a gallon of water before I go, okay, because it's, pure spirit. There we are. Do you know what I mean, my delicious babies? And then I'm hoping that with all of the 18, I'm hoping I can give something, there we are, to everybody, to give them a little taste of reading, my delicious babies. But here's the thing now. So for each table, I only have half an hour, to some out there 30 minutes, to give 3 readings in 30 minutes, half an hour, my delicious babies, okay? Now, when it's all over, because I have done one of these many years before at the same place, my delicious babies, with one of my dear little friends. We may not always speak all the time, but when we do talk, we pick up from where we left off. Do you see what I mean, my delicious babies? And it just goes like that now then. Well, after that, it's like fish and chips, because they've already paid for it, because it's in the price. Okay, my delicious babies. So you get your fish and chips, and then everybody just has a little discuss. Okay, my delicious babies. Anyway, it's almost as if, there we are, I've had to, it's like, I haven't had to, that's the wrong wording. it's like I've been brought back into it. Okay, there we are, my little babies. Do you see what I mean? Because I'm in the process of having what's called well, it was a website, but it's called Landslide, because one of my other beautiful, delicious, dear little friends said, well, why don't you have a landslide rather than a website? Because a website is for the larger businesses. But if you have a landslide, I'm pretty sure it's called landslide. If you have a landslide, then it means, you know, you can do it a different way. Anyway, so that's, there we are, in the process of being done with my tarot reading, my angel card readings, my angelic healing, and with my house cleansings. Okay, my delicious little babies. So there we are. It's in the process of being done right now as we speak. So yeah. So, and that will be myself, you know, getting, there we are, my business, there we are, off the ground. Okay, my delicious little babies. Now, years ago, before me, oh, it was so beautiful, dear little Nana and Grandad. Before me, beautiful dear little Nana passed away. Anyway, it used to be like New Street Station. So, like, I was very busy. Okay, my delicious babies. And it was all word of mouth. You know what I mean? My delicious babies, word of trap. Do you see what I mean? But I stopped when I lost my, so my beautiful dear little Nana Bear. You know, I was that devastated, there we are, of losing her, that I just couldn't. How could I do a reading for somebody when I was in turmoil myself? I just couldn't do it. Okay, it was just impossible. Oh, didn't UB40 have a song? Wherever you may be, I hope you hear my song. Yeah. Okay, my delicious babies. So, get back to the matter in hand. So, myself and this beautiful dear little lady, my beautiful dear little friend, like I said, you know, we cannot talk for whatever o'clock, but we take off from where we left off. Do you see what I mean? My delicious babies, on the old dog and burn. So she called me today, my delicious babies, and she says, you know, Carla, would you, you know, this dear woman now is unable to do this psychic fish and chip supper. Could you do it? And of course, well, I've done many things now at this place. That's the very first place, by the way, my delicious babies, where I did join the circle. You know, there we are. Do you know what I mean? My delicious babies, kind of had very fond memories. I used to go every Thursday evening. Oh, I adored it. From 7:30 till 9 p.m, where you do meditation, then you discuss, and whatever information that you get. Oh, I loved it. But I only needed to do it for around 6 months. Then I went on to the Buddhist. Now, even though my beautiful dear spirit had said to myself, you know, you must go to a Buddhist church for 6 week. Okay, I've just done 4, but it was, if you take out the school holidays, which is when they broke up, it was actually, would have been 6 week. Okay, and because I kept ignoring it, my delicious babies, where I used to live, there used to be a great big island. You couldn't miss it. My delicious babies right in front. There were, what was it, 24, you wouldn't believe this, my delicious babies, 24 was it, they're all in their robes, brown robes, Buddhist, all on the island and surrounding it. And I thought, okay, this is my cue to go, my delicious babies. So that's what I did. So I did the 6 weeks there. That's where I was trained, there we are, shall we say, where, say, for example, you only focus on your nose, so you do not focus on anything else, any other noise that's outside, you just blank it, okay? You only concentrate on the tip of your nose, there we are, so I mastered it, there we are, okay, my delicious babies. So, but with the spiritual church, with meditation, it's a different thing. So with the spiritual church, what you do is that you go into meditation, just a light meditation, and then it's whatever you your noddle gets in that time. So that's that. But with a Buddhist, it's different. You focus just on one thing, okay, my babies, okay? So that's that. So, sorry, excuse me. So, so I've done birth, okay? The one thing now that I kept away from, and I have explained this, is because it's trance. Trance is a very different thing. Some will call it channeling, others will call it trance, okay? You need to have, there we are, a proper, there we are, well established, there we are, trance tutor. Because when you go into trance, what happens is your voice can change. There we are. Okay, my delicious babies. Now I know this. There we are, my own self, okay, for many, many, many years, okay. But what it is, it's another spirit who's speaking. So this is who I've been trying to find. I've been trying to find a tutor, my delicious babies, and I'm not having much luck. I know that doesn't mean yes, because the reason why is because they want to charge ka-ching, ching, ching, that I simply do not have. Do you understand what I mean? Okay. Give me somebody, there we are, who's a decent tutor, who's fandabidozy, but one, there we are, who works from the heart, okay, rather than ka-ching, ching, ching, okay. So this is what we're going through right now, my delicious babies. So I'm still trying to find somebody. I met a lovely dear lady and gentleman who's a beautiful dear little couple on the recommendation of my beautiful dear little friend, who I've been talking about. And yeah, but I said, if you can find somebody in your spare time, to recommend, I said, see, I do not mind paying 30 an hour, ka-ching, ching, ching. You know what I mean? Or even 30 for, there we are, 45 minutes, ka-ching, ching. Do you understand? I do not mind that, okay? But who I spoke to, this beautiful dear little couple, and they're in a closed circle. I wish I'd have known about it, my babies, but I never knew at the time. You know what I mean? Because a closed circle means that nobody else can join. An open circle, there we are, means that many can join, but some will come and go, over the weeks. That's why it's open. Whereas a closed one means the same amount, every week. My delicious babies, okay. And I wish I'd have known about it, but I never knew at the time, okay. But I need to do this trance. Now, my beautiful dear little friend, she said to myself, she says, you know what, Carla, she says, you've been on about this for months. I said, yes, I have. I said, because I feel, there we are, there's a message that's got to get out. But when your voice changes and everything changes, the expressions on your buttress and everything changes, changes. Okay, there's something I need to get out, but I need somebody to record and film what I'm doing. There we are, at the same time. But at the same time, I need the tutor who's really, what's the word I'm looking for? Impeccably skilled to be able to bring myself out of it. And that is the dangers of trance. Okay, my delicious babies, because trance is nothing to be sniffed at, okay? Because and that doesn't mean yes, because if you are with somebody who's inexperienced, you could go into a trance, which means that spirit, that's the whole point. In that process, there we are, spirit takes over. Okay, so in other words, spirit would take over my body, okay, which means that I'm not in control of my body. Okay, I'm not in control of what comes out my mouth, out my trap. I'm not in control of nothing, because there we are, spirit is giving the information. There we are, do you see what I mean? Okay, through myself, okay? Just like when I do my angelic healing, where ones have said that, they've been levitated off the bed, or you've had a big chunk of whatever's been bothering them has been pulled out, okay? It's like that. So, in other words, the way that I work, because I'm used as a vessel, Okay, my delicious babies, that's the whole point that I'm making. So I'm used as a vessel for my beautiful dear little angels, my beautiful dear little creator, my beautiful dear little spirit, okay? So it wouldn't be myself talking, it would be spirit who's communicating. And this is a problem that I'm having. So I've been looking, scanning, and I'm not finding anybody at the moment, which is so, to myself, very disappointing, okay? So I can only, please that, you know what I mean, that somebody will come through soon. I did ask this beautiful dear elderly couple, I said, if you know of anybody, I'll repeat again, can you please, bring somebody to myself, you know what I mean? I do not mind paying a bit of ka-ching, but don't take the pay now. Do you understand what I mean, okay? Because I remember, even years and years and years ago, the dear lady who I've just been talking about at the church where I'm going tomorrow evening, her dear husband now, let me tell you, there he was banging. And at that time, it was only £7 for an hour and a half. And he's trans, okay, closed circle. Okay, my babies, the dear elderly couple who I spoke to the other evening, they only charge, is it an hour and a half, £7? Okay, so where these others ones going now, there we are charging all this ching ching ching. Do you follow me? Okay, so that's where I'm at the moment, my delicious babies. Now then, very lastly, what I want to talk about, when you help somebody, okay, my delicious babies, I personally always, there we are, honour, okay, one way or another, I would get to their their destination, I will get there, okay, but sometimes it's a long way to Tipperary, it's a long way to go, okay, and sometimes things in between now do not go the way that it's supposed to, but I will always, there we are, honour if anybody, there we are, has helped myself, okay. It's just a bit difficult right now for myself. There we are for myself, okay. That's all it is, okay. Short space of time, but it's just a bit difficult right now, okay. Which is why I'm trying to get, there we are, business off the ground. Do you see what I'm saying? Yes, okay. Because for a lot who used to come to myself, they never knew where I moved to, and I didn't want really anyone, to tell you the truth, knowing where I was living at that time. And I'm just being honest, my delicious babies. I had too much going on, okay? I was moving. I lost my beautiful dear little Nana. I had so much going on that I needed to be here, there and everywhere, focusing. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yes, then I lost my beautiful little baby Asa in February, not long after moving here. There was so much going on for myself. I could not do any readings or anything, So what had to take front seat was my mental being, was my heart, had to take front seat and not ka-ching, ching, ching, okay? Because I wouldn't be giving out what I should have been doing. Okay, my baby. So I'm just explaining, there we are, the truth of everything what's gone on, okay? But when I honour something, okay, and I know who's helped me, there we are. I know who's helped me. I will get there, there we are. I'm telling you in my camera, there we are. I will get there, okay? It's just, I've just got to build some change. Do you see what I'm saying? You see what I mean, my baby? Simple things, okay, there we are. But I will get to my destination, I will. But I want to also do everything, there we are, in my own right. Do you understand? There we are. Do you know what I mean, my delicious babies? Okay. But when you help somebody now, and you do everything you can to help them, and then in the end, there we are, it doesn't quite work out that way, you know what I mean? Well, I'm sort of, there we are, going through that as well, my delicious babies, okay? So, there's always something going on. I always find something to laugh about, that. It's just, there we are, little babies, you know what I mean? But no. So all I can say is, I'm not going to say nothing more, my babies, but all I can say is, for myself, there we are, I do honour, okay? It may take me a bit of a while, there we are, to get to my destination, there we are, but I always get there. Do you understand what I mean? There we are, okay? And then I can sit down and there we are, have a rock and roll conversation. You know, many conversations, there we are, my delicious babies, you know what I mean? I can then be done doing it, okay? But there we are, but I will always honour. But in life, my delicious babies, you find that for some, they do not. Okay, my delicious babies, and that's what I'm just done saying. But when you have been done, there we are, helping somebody else now then. Okay, I'm just going to leave it like that, my delicious babies. But for myself, you know, to who you are, I honour. There we are, I honour. Okay, it may take me a bit of a while. There we are, but I get there. Do you know what I mean, my delicious babies? And that's all I'm done saying. I've got nothing more to say. Then on the 25th, sorry, there is one more thing. Then on the 25th of April, I'm doing a psychic. I've been invited because I said, well, I says, you know, because I'm pretty sure they may have had enough mediums or psychics or readers. Said, you know, then I got the call, you know, just said, well, would you like to, you know, you said that you'd be, and I said, well, yes. I said, if you do not have enough, you know, because each time that I've done the psychic fair, I've usually always had rather a lot, there we are, who come to myself. Do you see what I mean? So anyway, the dear lady now then, my dear friend, she says, you know what, I'm going to put you... And I was just about to say it, and then she said it. She's got a beautiful garden, beautiful large garden. It's a beautiful spiritual church, okay? She's been going since 1989. That's how long, you know, her spiritual church has been going. And she said, no, she said, where I'm going to put you, Carla, is in the log cabin. And I said, I was just about to say that. I was just about to say that, so she puts me out the way, do you know? Not in that way. Please do not take it the wrong way, what I've just said, okay? Because everybody else would be in a different room, you know, in the church. For myself, I've got that freedom because it's a beautiful place with a log cabin. It's, the energy, there we are, is rocking. You know what I mean? Marty's just the baby. So... And yeah, so and then beautiful dear little friend, she spoke to another dear lady who remembered myself. There we are, from years ago. She said, what a kind, on about myself, she said, what a kind and lovely lady she was. I said, lady, I'm a woman, I'm all woman, you know. I always say about ladies, you know what I mean, they're all flipping you know what I mean, nails and handbags and whatever else, and the latest clothes and that, you know, they wouldn't know a day's work. There we are. If it slapped them in the birth race with a soggy fish, you know, I'm all woman, you know what I mean, my delicious babies. So at the end of the day, that's that. And that's not being nasty towards any ladies. It's just that ladies there for a reason, isn't it? That's the word, lady. It's there for a reason. Anyway, my delicious babies, always remember the wording. Anyway, so yeah, so I'm going to be doing that as well, my delicious baby. So I'm really looking forward to it. So I'm getting back in. And it's amazing, there we are, how spirit works. Do you see what I mean? So when I do the psychic fair, anything that I've earned, it's usually, 15 minutes? It's like a taster reading. And usually I ask them to hold the hands out and I do the healing. There we are. Do you know what I mean? And they're super duper happy. But whatever's earned, I would just give back to me dear little friend. You see what I mean? She says, no, keep it. I said, no, I said, I'll have it back. Because I've just enjoyed helping others, and I've just enjoyed helping others. Do you see me? And helping beautiful dear little friends. So that's Fan Dabby Durza. And then tomorrow evening, you know, like I said, I'm going to drink a gallon of water before I go. I'll be doing meditating from about 4 p.m. onwards because I've got to be there for 6. So I'm going to make sure that, you know what I mean, I'm meditating. So I want to be able to give out, there we are, as many readings as possible, because if somebody's paid for a service, there we are, then you expect to, deliver the goods. Okay, my delicious babies. But it's not the first time I've done a psychic supper. It's not the first time I've done these psychic fairs. I've done it in other places as well, and it's not the first time that I've ever to do with anything. I've done, there we are, that many, you know, like when some come to a spiritual church and then you stood there on your podium, you give out messages. So I've done that as well. So this is not the first time for myself at all, but I always say to any reader out there, just before I leave my video, my delicious babies, if you're going to be doing anything like what I've just mentioned, especially if you're going to be giving out, I'm usually always thrown in the deep end, my delicious babies. You just learn very fast. Do you understand what I mean? But for anybody out there, my best, there we are, advice to give you is that, you know, if you're very confident, there we are, in what you do, it's all right to be confident, but if you're feeling nervous, there we are, if you're feeling nervous, okay, that is what I call, there we are, to my heart, there we are, a true spirit. So I know before I go tomorrow evening, because I haven't done this for a while now, I know, there we are, I'm going to be very nervous. I'm going to be feeling it all in my tummy, in my diaphragm, you know, it's going to be coming up, do you know what I mean? And I know I'm going to be feeling my nerves. There we are. That's when you know, there we are, that it's genuine. There we are. Do you know what I mean? Martish babies, there we are. It's very genuine. Okay. I even said to my beautiful dear little friend today, I said, do you know somebody called Andrea? It just came out of the blue. We were just talking. I just said, you know, somebody called Andrea. She actually happens to know somebody called that. Anyway, I'll leave it like that. But for anybody out there, maybe you know somebody called Andrea. There we are. Okay, my delicious baby, so I'm going to leave it like that. So wherever you are in the world, whether it's morning, afternoon or evening, please have a super duper delicious time. You only get one life, my little honey bunnies. Sending peace, love, harmony and bright blessings to each and every one of you. May your beautiful little selves, your beautiful little families, may you all be fully protected. There we are. And how I love you all so. But yes, I'm getting back into, there we are, what I enjoy doing. I really, really, there we are, love, there we are, and adore helping others. Because when I used to work on the Phonelines, one last thing now, how these Phonelines work. So for anybody out there who's listening to myself, whether it's morning, afternoon or evening, thank you for any views, for any likes, there we are, the occasional comments. It seems to myself, well, we see it across the board, don't we, with our putrid governments in the world, okay, that the worse that you are is the higher you climb the ladder, isn't it? Okay, well, in fact, you don't have to climb it. You know, it's almost like you've got some sort of green slam on yourself and you just seem to sort of be levitated up. Well, it's the same thing now with these Phonelines. Could be anywhere. You know, these £1 a minute, 75 pence a minute, 45 pence a minute, okay? Just let you know, for somebody who's worked in that industry, if it's 45 pence a minute, you're probably getting the reader, like myself as an example, would only be getting 12 pence a minute. If it's £1.50 a minute, probably only getting paid 24 pence a minute. Okay, the rest goes to the company. But what happens is, and I've had this, there we are, many times. I worked for 3 different companies over my decades, and I'll tell you now, my delicious babies, that I was getting good reviews, I was getting everything, okay, but this is not what they're wanting. Okay, my delicious babies, so for ones, there we are, who can bullshit it. Okay, their views, there we are, and everything goes bing, 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 bing. Do you see what I mean, my babies? I did speak to the supervisors about it. I said, well, how can this be? I said, when somebody could call myself, I've had it, there we are, a number of times, my babies, over the years, where they said, you know, well, we've been calling these lines like 3 years now. Yeah, number 3. Okay, my babies have said, and they haven't told the truth, and nothing's come true, and they couldn't validate anything. They said, then we talk to yourself, there we are, and then you're done telling the truth. And some of them were so super duper, well, actually all of them were so super duper happy, okay, with what I delivered, okay, that it could not be questioned. Nothing could be questioned now. Okay, my little babies, okay. And I've dealt with many different calls in my time, even ones, bless the beautiful dear little souls, not in that way, who want to end their lives, that I'll be the last one who they talk to. So at the end of the day, I've dealt with many, okay. ones who have been emotional, beautiful mankind. I too have got emotional with them because I said, if I knew you at that time, I would have truly helped you to my heart. Do you understand what I mean? So I take it, there we are, very seriously. There we are with what I do. Okay, Martin, babies can. But these phone lines now are not wanting it. So if you bullshit your way, do you see what I mean? Then your numbers go up immensely. They will put all of the calls, there we are, through to these, okay? Because at £1.50 a minute, 75 pence a minute, 45 pence a minute, ching, 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 ching. We're in the money, all the way to the bank now then. Do you see what I mean, Martin? Babies? But anybody, there we are, who speak truth, they don't like. So the amount of, let's just say conversations, there we are, and disagreements, isn't it? Okay. So you have to watch these, who, there we are, ones go to. Do you see what I mean? We've all been there. You want to have a reading, whatever else. What I did is I tested. There we are. I tested them. And let me tell you, they weren't that good. Do you see what I mean? In fact, I was offered, okay, to, would you like to come and, work for our company? Do you see what I mean, Martin babies, okay? Because the bullshitters, the bullshitters, big times. Do you see what I mean? Okay, they're not there, to be kind. There we are, to anybody. They're there for the ching, 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 as long as they've got it going into a skyrocket, into their bank. They couldn't give a fiddler's F. Do you understand what I mean? I do not operate that way. Okay, my little babies. So there we are. So I'm operating, there we are, in a different way. Do you see what I mean? Yes, okay. But no matter who meets myself, I do not work off ego, not at all. Nah, not at all. At the end of the day, whoever I meet, there we are, there is some substance, there we are, to what I give out. Okay. And then my job's done. If I want to stay longer, I'll stay longer. If not, bing, bing, a trap. Do you see what I mean, my delicious babies? But that's really the way it is. So if anybody has readings out there, please, there we are, be very careful now, there we are, who you go to. Because not everybody, old-fashioned Irish saying, there we are, my delicious babies, is sweet and wholesome. And that is even to whom it may concern, to yourselves now, okay. Because maybe some of the information then that they're receiving is not the correct. Okay, my babies. So you just look after now. Please take care of yourselves now. Please try to take care of others, because we are in a bonkers, crackers and crazy world. And how I love you, my little honey bunnies. So until my next video, you just look after now. And if there is anybody in your life and they're taking the piss, get rid. Lots of love, okay? Whether it's a family member, you know what I mean, or a friend, maybe they've outstayed their welcome. Lots of love. Take care. Thank you for listening. Bye-bye.